production.
7 Mile Radio.
Warning.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio.
Production.
7 Mile Radio.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Tapped In Podcast tonight. I'm Tanisha. I'm here with Champ and Saranga, and we have a guest. And by the way, of Tawana, who works at an HIV clinic. And tonight, our topic is a real talk about HIV. Real talk about HIV. That's the caption. That's the title. So we're gonna have a real talk about HIV. Tawana, like I said, Tawana works at a clinic, and we definitely wanted to bring this topic forward, make everybody aware. It's getting warm outside, you know, how that go. So we just definitely want to make sure everybody's aware of the environment in which they are operating, particularly in the city of Detroit. So, Champ, tell everybody hi again.
What's up, everybody? It's Champ.
And Osa, let them know you're here.
Peace and love. Osa here.
And Tawana, please
Hello.
introduce yourself and tell us something about yourself, what you do.
I'm a registered medical assistant. I'm in an HIV program. So I'm front and center, and I see a lot that goes on. And I'm just here to add my input.
So how long you been working at a with HIV program?
I worked once upon a time, earlier 2000s, in the HIV program. And I just recently, 5 years ago, started here. So altogether, collectively, about 8 years in HIV. But with the medical field as a registered medical assistant since '96.
So as a medical assistant, you was like doing tests, taking blood. What's the difference?
You still do the same duties and everything with drawing blood, helping with procedures and things like that, referrals, whatever you need to do. But it's just different specialties you may be involved with.
So now you do what do you do mostly now? Like advocate, just speak?
I'm not an
counseling?
advocate, but we do have advocates at our job that help them with different necessities like insurance, or if they have car issues, they can help with transportation, stuff like that. And they'll help them with food, different things. But I'm a medical assistant, so I'm on the other end of it. Right before it gets to them or in the middle, we all work together. It's a whole village trying to help the patients know that we're there for them and support them, because a lot of times they don't have that support. So I'm drawing blood when we don't have the phlebotomist that's usually there.
Okay.
I'm doing referrals for specialty appointments if they have any issues or they're hospital discharged and they need to follow up. They'll come see us. And then I sometimes go over to our other clinic that's strictly walk-ins, and HIV is detected, and then they're sent to us when they're old enough to come to us. But we have horizons and different things that is outside entities that we work with as well.
Third party support.
But yeah, the medical assistant side is where I'm at.
Okay, so how prevalent is HIV? And you work in the city of Detroit? Do you work in the city of Detroit?
Yes, I'm downtown.
Oh, downtown Detroit. So how prevalent is HIV? What are statistics on that?
The statistic numerically, I don't have that, but I will tell you it's more than you may think. And it's all ages. It's not a look, it's not an age, and that's where the problem starts.
I think so too, and particularly
People think it's a look, or they think it's a group or a community,
or a generation, right? Because a lot of us think it's a generation thing. I have, like, my older kids. Of course, when we were growing up, it was new, right? It came out in the 80s, so we was hyper vigilant. It was a lot of stuff, speculation. It was a lot of
no knowledge, and there's a lot of ignorance that still exists to this day.
So that was our generation. Then, so like the 30-year-olds, they kind of think that it's taken care of at this point, and then you had the 20-year-olds that don't really even acknowledge it exists. You know what I mean? So
don't care. The regimens have changed tremendously. It used to be a much more drooling process for them to get treatment. So it was more like a death wish in the beginning. Everybody was more scared and skeptical and a little bit trying to think about it. But then once you see that it's a little bit easier and it's like, oh, we can live with it. Okay, look at the different people that we first heard of. We had people that had
they'd be like Magic Johnson still alive,
Absolutely.
right? Like that's
he's a whole
that's
different.
their poster child. That's their whole poster child.
Working for him. Because a lot, because I was a teenager when it actually became real prevalent. So, we all looked at Magic Johnson So it was
As that poster child.
Magic Johnson was contrary to what they was teaching us. You know what I'm saying? So they was always trying to scare us with different types of example of person with HIV, AIDS, where people was just
But
confused.
then they turned around. They scared us with Eazy-E, right? Because he was
Exactly.
they here today,
Yeah.
gone tomorrow. With it like it was super progressed.
Where they talked about Eazy-E, where he didn't know about it and just, you know what I'm saying, passed away unexpectedly, you know. But then the actual awareness actually got softer because, okay, we watched Easy, we were shocked, but then we watching Magic progress, where we was under impression, you know, when you have
It's
AIDS,
fake.
But look at those
maybe
lifestyles.
it's not
a death sentence.
Right.
Maybe it's not as bad as it's not the boogeyman that
Right.
everybody is making it out to be.
Exactly.
Even people went to it's fake. It ain't real.
But people
you know
don't
what I
go
mean? Like,
deeper.
They don't know.
Yeah.
You have to look deeper at everything. I don't care what the topic, what the situation is. You had an athlete versus a guy that was from the streets, regardless of his accolades.
goodness.
You know what I'm saying? So he's smoking, he drinking, he partying. He got a whole different lifestyle, a whole different mentality. But you got an athlete, on the other hand, that may indulge in some extracurricular activities that's a little bit risque. However, he's
But the
getting physicals and going to the doctor and stuff like that. He might
They
have
caught it
detected it earlier.
Yes.
The
Yes.
difference was
And has the finances.
Absolutely.
Magic had HIV. He died of AIDS.
Because it went
he
too
had
far.
full blown.
Yeah.
So
that's what they
So,
said
right.
about
That's
Eazy-E.
because once you get to a
Progressive.
certain point, you and your viral load is like completely out of whack and you're not being treated, you're going to either die from the HIV or you can die from the common cold. So your immune system is so weak, anything can end up being the issue that you be taken
I
out.
think like social media made people more easy about it because now it's like, well, they're getting different information and different misinformation. Versus where in the 90s you was actually hearing from medical experts. You know what I'm saying? Now you have, you know, what you want to say, advocates. You know what I'm saying? Then you have advocates that don't be accurate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't give
And you're
correct
going off
information.
myths
so
or false
They go by
beliefs.
family members. You know what I'm saying? They go by health teachers in school.
And they're probably talking to family members that's not even actually a patient that has it or know of it. And
'Cause
they're
I'll be-
going off assumptions.
Because I'll be honest, like you look at the numbers, right? And then I look at my peer group, my environment. It's like even to in 2023, I've only known 3 people with HIV.
You look at it in your face.
No,
every
what I'm saying,
day,
I've
but
only
personally
known,
known.
I only know 3 people that actually admit that they had it.
A lot of
Versus
people don't wanna
I know
talk
there's
about
a lot
it.
of people around me that has it, so it's not that prevalent to people because people is not
Don't
admitting,
talk about
not
it.
talking about
And then
it.
it's always
Yeah.
a shock when it comes
Right.
out, right? Because I remember on social media right here in Detroit, maybe a couple of months ago, maybe a month
That
and a half
guy?
ago, the guy that came out, and I actually posted a story about it on the 7 Mile Radio page about him coming out and, you know, admitting that he has it and he's still sexually active with people,
Right.
men and women, unprotected.
And a lot of them feel that once they're non-detectable, their viral
Right.
load is
That
within
part, right, 'cause
proper
that's-
range.
he had
They
a
feel
video-
like I can't pass it. And, you know, everybody have their different speculation, they view of that. Like, well, it's still a virus, why you can't pass it? So that's a deeper end of it. But if you're not having any symptoms, you feel good, you look good, you feel like, okay, if my number's looking good, why can't I have unprotected sex? But are you telling the people that you're having sex with that you even positive?
That
is
you
the question.
positive.
That's another reason why it's being transferred. Because sometimes they fall off the wagon and they're not.
They not taking their medicine. I
Yes.
know. Of some, I mean, I had a family member who passed of HIV. They were
I'm sorry. to hear that.
what is it? An intravenous drug user. But and then that's another thing. How do you get it? Because a lot of people think, well, I'm not gay, right? Like my people not gay, and I don't use no needles, so I'm straight. So how do you? Can women give men AIDS? Because it was a myth
Yeah,
that they could like
No,
they
they
can't
tend to
get AIDS from
I've
women
heard that women don't pass it as
Right.
quickly as men
as
do.
quickly.
Right, that's
I've
the
heard
fact.
that.
Right.
And, you know,
You have,
I feel like if it's within your body,
Yeah,
why
but-
can't you pass
it's
it?
often,
If
yeah.
it's
what people need to do, they need to take a class about bloodborne pathogens. So when
Absolutely,
they take a class
transmission
of
of it.
bloodborne pathogens, they'll have a better understanding of how bodily fluids transfer to the next person.
and how it lasts
You know
on
what
surfaces, saliva,
Exactly.
blood,
Right.
urine,
So you can get AIDS from
body
kissing.
organ. They like to say that you can't, but what if you got a cut in your mouth and it's
Exactly.
blood?
And
Or
I
you
wear,
got
I wear braces. So
You have an issue with your gums and you're bleeding. So
Now, if you have
Always
gum
like
disease, you know, if you
Yeah,
brush hard, you know what I'm saying,
gingivitis,
you got
gum
open,
disease.
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
all different. You know, when people
Brush your
like,
teeth
talk
too
about
hard.
COVID, like a lot of people's, you know, stuff would get transferred through blood. Period.
It was
Because if you
airborne
got-
as well, though,
Right.
with the COVID. That's why the mask was implemented, because of just the mist from a sneeze or you're talking. So, and people think COVID is gone, and it's not.
No. And see, even like with COVID, because I deal with hazardous materials, so I understand all the different ways of transmissions. So even with your mask, every time you adjust your mask, you actually put it on your hand. So then if you touch your eyeball, if you touch
That's a
your ears,
means
these
of
are all
transmission.
openings. You put in your mouth, all means.
But you can't transmit AIDS so casually.
No.
I mean,
No.
does it
Like
have
that,
to be
no.
blood?
It's alive,
Does
Because
it-
how long can it survive in the open air?
Now, that's the thing. I don't know how long, but they have like different cleaning agents that say that'll kill it on the spot when you get it, and it lasts on the surface to help prevent it from spreading with different viruses and stuff. But you just got to be precautious, because you got to think nails, stuff like that. People don't think about things
Going to get
like
your
that.
nails
Even
done,
when
they cut your cuticle, right?
You have so many people that have fungal issues, and they say, "Oh, I didn't have this issue till I started going to the
Get
nail
my
shop,
nails
whatever."
done.
So you have to be careful, because so many people unfortunately do not know enough, and they think like, "Oh, well, I'm only having oral sex." Okay, you don't know what that other person is doing, so they could have something.
So
go on.
AIDS is passed through semen and like the pre-cum.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
I'm
Because those are bodily
ignorant,
fluids.
but I don't
no,
really
you did
know.
ask me that, and I veered off. So yes,
Yeah.
bodily fluids is definitely one. Blood, like intravenous users. So things like that. Saliva, they try to say that it's not enough of the virus in that.
Okay.
But
But your saliva can have blood in it.
that's what we were just saying, with like your gums or the lining of your mouth. So I'm thinking anything that has blood.
Or even
you
when y'all
gotta-
mention your cuticles,
Yeah,
like you ever had them little slick cuts that bleeds very slowly. You put your mouth, your fingers in your mouth, you can transmit.
Or
it to
doing
that person.
sex. I mean, let's be honest. Come on. A
You
lot
get
of it
nasty,
is,
put your finger in my mouth.
just even
Yeah,
if you utilizing your hands doing things with someone, you have to understand. Like I said, nails. Even if they short, if they not clean, you got all these things going on. You might got cuts around your cuticle. It's so many different ways that we have to be more mindful, that people need to be educated, especially now that they have so much exposure on social media. Kids are seeing all these sexual things. The content has changed even in cartoons. So they sexually driven. The world is sexually driven. And,
Everything.
and that's why we do need to have a discussion like this, because so many people think it's just the gay community, and it's not. It's much more than that. And then now you got a much more, I guess, imagination that's wandering
Illusion.
around with this lustful mindset. It's so much lust going on in the world. It's like
so
not,
many
it's
parties,
not a-
right?
It's not a, and like you said, it's about to get hot.
So many parties.
But like y'all saying,
It's about to get hot.
it's nothing new because this is the same environment during the hippies.
We're all here
where it was
because
all
of somebody
free. Like,
had
it's-
sex
it's
9
in
times
our,
out of 10.
It's in our nature.
Yes.
But we have to be more disciplined and more responsible.
And that's
now
what the
because-
main thing is: discipline,
Discipline.
self-control. Everybody act like wild animals. Not everybody, but for the most part, they not respecting themselves enough to know I am just as much
But it's
able to be
it's
harmed.
society and media and TV and music and
They
movies.
get so
You
mad.
don't see
pushing that
you don't see
narrative.
commercials no more.
Music heavy.
You don't see commercials hardly no more. You see
Everything
you
is
see
sexual.
Tributa, you see
I'm about
Tributa
to say,
commercials. You see the
Travada,
I was gonna get on that later. Yeah.
Uh-huh,
I'm gonna get on
yes.
we
that.
gonna talk about that.
Cabanuva, and you see in all the
The
different
prevention.
You see the highlight
medicines,
of it. You see
but
the
you don't
highlight.
hear the what do they used to call them? The public service announcements.
Infomercials.
You know,
Yes,
like,
and listen,
like
and
breaking
listen,
news.
know
they
your
used to
know your
come on-
status. They had a whole campaign. Know
They
your
used
status.
to come on at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Now they put it on like after school
Prime time,
specials.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like right in
It's
the
a
middle
lot
of
of
the day.
things that actually go on. They have different parades and different things in the community during different times of the year, and a lot of people may not want to participate, but they actually be really fun. They human beings, and that's the thing. Don't just put them in a place that, oh, they may have this, they may have that. You look at the heterosexual people that have it as well. So we all need to be educated, and we need to teach our children, because they think, oh, oral sex, I can't catch it, or anal sex. That's even more so, because you have, it's so much. It's so much.
So speaking about the children, I wanted to add a little fact. In the United States, 20% of new HIV diagnoses in 2020 were among young people ages 13 to 24.
I'm glad you're looking up some statistics
Yes.
so we can go into that.
Yes.
They're having sex earlier and earlier.
Yes.
It's look at it. You said 13.
13 to 24.
Oh my Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And only the prevention is 6% of high school students that were actually tested or that are being tested for HIV.
6%.
6%.
At this point, they should be testing more than that.
Yeah. So like my first time working in the healthcare field, I was about 21, and this is when I was a coworker of Taiwanese. I had there was a patient that was 14. She had a 1-year-old child. She was HIV positive and was 7 months pregnant. And that blew my mind, being, so young, coming into the healthcare field, and, seeing such a young soul already, a statistic, so that awareness is definitely needed, and it's not talked about as much. And the children are very hypersexualized. The music encourages,
even the girl music, the girl rappers, they
yes,
are, right?
Very, very like overly sexual.
It's welcomed. It's almost like you lame or it's square if you not into that side of how society is
promiscuous. If you're not promiscuous,
yes,
almost.
Absolutely.
Well, this from puberty, we are already sexually driven.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
naturally,
we're here to reproduce. It's
right.
in our nature.
It's in our nature. So it's like we have to teach ourselves. We have to discipline ourselves to not fall into temptations that's actually driven by our DNA, by our genetics.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna have temptations every day of your life with all type of different things.
So it really comes.
So why not respect your temple in others?
Yeah,
so I wanted to know about the prevention medicines. Right? Are they available for everybody? Why can't everybody just take prevention medicines? Why they don't have an immunization?
They have like
you really gonna trust the prevention medicine?
They have.
I'm just asking. Like they promote it on TV. So what's up? Like, can everybody take this?
I'm sure that there's programs.
It's money attached to those.
It's money attached.
So
They're very expensive. They're very expensive. But if you got insurance, and like you want to take PrEP, some people that are not HIV positive but think they may have came in contact, or they know they have a promiscuous lifestyle, they'll take PrEP to try to.
Is that for men and women? Because most of the commercials just like they have men in them, and they might have a woman.
That's marketing and targeting.
Yeah, it's like they might have a woman in it, but you just assume that's his girlfriend. You know what I'm saying?
Here go the money ball, right? Do they really want people to actually practice safe sex if they selling a prevention
drug? It's a lot of things they don't want cured.
You know what I'm saying? That's the contrary of their
Let's
motive.
Be honest.
Yeah.
It's like
Big Pharma want to get paid.
Because like I said, it's no more PSAs. It's all commercials about the medicine.
Are we going to sit there and push for everyone to practice perfect sex when we
we're making money off of the disease?
We're making money off of them not having protective sex. You know what I'm saying? So you're not going to sit there and see the PSAs. It's like with smoking. We don't see no PSA for smoking no more. You know what I'm saying? But it's the smoke. It's the cigarette companies.
It's a choice, though. It's right on the pack. Surgeon General message right on the side. It's your choice.
You're right. That was the lobbyists that created that, right? But it's like, whereas they made the cigarette companies actually fund the PSA commercials, right? So here goes the offset, right?
If you're nobody to fund those.
No. If you're a smoker, right, and you're watching a PSA commercial, you already know the effects of the cigarettes, right? But what does that PSA commercial does? It actually causes you or influence you to smoke a cigarette. Because that's the habit of you smoke cigarettes?
No.
Anybody smoke cigarettes?
I used to.
Okay, so you
wouldn't even... Actually, wait, I'm horrible because I got this. This is not no better. My son be like, that's worse.
We transition.
Man, we'll get
but it's a month. I'm a month.
Let's say you put this down, right? You're not even thinking about it, right? But all of a sudden, I smoke mine. That's going to trigger you to smoke yours.
Yeah.
So that was the old hidden agenda behind cigarette companies. Yeah, I'll pay for this PSA because I know it's going to trigger.
And we're going to make it look real fun, too, when we do it.
Well, at the beginning, they did it. Now they show that. You know what I'm saying?
That's scary.
But you got to understand the person's mindset of smoking and having promiscuous sex is like, I'm going to live, I die, I live.
Like back to the
That'd be the mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I'm
and that's
live
back to the teenagers. Yeah. They feel invincible.
I just think
I can smoke, I can take all these drugs, and then now I can have this wild sex, but not thinking about the consequences.
I think it's just an ignorance factor, and now that it's treatable, right? Like,
they really feel like it's a go ahead.
I don't even think they think like that. They don't even have a value for their life.
That's too. You know what I'm saying? But it's definitely the prevention.
I'm gonna live my life. If I go, I go. That's these young kids' mindset.
No regard for nobody else's life or their own.
Before they kind of like even out how people feel about HIV, like with just regular STDs, like kids didn't mind doing it. Or I could just go get a shot, or I go get that penicillin. You know what I'm saying? Like so they didn't care. You know, they know they could go to the doctor, get it cleaned out, and then now they can get back out here and be wild.
No, it's bigger than that because now in the streets you can buy that Z-Pack. So they don't even got to go to the
So
doctors.
they getting them out there too now.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
What's a Z-Pack? Wait a minute. What?
So
tell the people what a Z-Pack is. Where
I can't pronounce the name, but it's antibiotic.
Zithromycin?
But it kills a lot of viruses.
And it starts like 6 pills, 5 pills, 4 pills.
Now they down to 3.
Go down.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They down to 3.
Wait a minute, you can get these at the drugstore?
Yeah, you get them at the drugstore. But
so they over the counter?
No, it's not over the counter.
The doctor.
That's if it's at the drugstore, it's over the counter.
Right.
But you got to get a prescription.
Right.
To
you have to get a prescription.
Cats are sitting there buying it because, like, let's say you married, right? You over there and mess with your mistress, and now you sitting there thinking that you might have some symptoms of STDs. So not having to go to the doctor because those are records of it. I can go to my man's in the street. Let me get that Z-Pack for the 50 ball. I can kill myself.
So they must have an inside connection to get to it, like anything else.
Because that's what they do in the service. If you know any military man, when they be out, you know what I'm saying, overseas, they prescribe Z-Packs for all types of symptoms that they get. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to sit around, we'll take this aspirin. They just going, here, take the Z-Pack. You know what I'm saying? It's just that easy when you're in the military. They just going to give you the antibiotics to kill.
Right,
You know what I'm
kill
saying?
everything.
And you don't want to overutilize that
because it builds
either.
a tolerance. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they prescribe, because it can build a tolerance to that, where it's like, if you take it so much that it won't kill nothing no more. You know what I'm saying? But that are the trending things in our culture that's going to keep
we don't even I'm so new. A whole Z-Pack, really?
so imagine
I'm amazed.
you can sit there you can have sex with a person, right? And all of a sudden you have the symptoms. So you thinking that you got it from this partner, but they done got the Z-Pack. They go get a test like, yo, I'm clean. You know what I'm saying? So now you sitting there looking like,
where did I get it from?
They like, I got it from you. What you mean? What's wrong with you?
Right, shit.
Like, where
you
been?
People do that all day long. Like this thing.
So how do they trace the AIDS, right? Do they trace the HIV back to a specific
do you really
person?
trace something back to somebody and just pinpoint it? Because if you're having multiple sex,
right? They say it's tracing when you go. They say they do when you go. You have to
sometimes
say
you're referred to come
and,
into the Department of Health if somebody has something and they say you're one of the people that should be contacted. Sometimes you may get a call and say you may want to come in and get tested for this because you may have been exposed. So they may tell someone and refer them. However,
is there a registry? Because I don't know if it's a myth, but it's a registry that if you test positive, you automatically get registered as a red flag, and you have all your medical records as an HIV positive person.
I mean, it's going to be in your medical records where you are, where your records are, but they're not about to just share
it's no
with the
national
world.
data bank, so to speak.
But now you got to trust.
But I'm sure there's some way that they can link it all together if they want to say what the percentage is in the world. You linked in there some way, somehow.
You have to trust the people that's documenting your real records. So, you might have one
It's
vigilante
HIPAA.
in the office like, oh, I know all these people that has HIV, collectively take all that information and put it on the black market. Now, look, I got a list, a legitimate list of people got HIV.
A lot of records now is electronically monitored, so they'll know if it's you that went in there. And
your login,
trust me,
password,
you have to,
your VPN.
You have to input it first.
you don't want to do it.
Know what I'm saying? If you're a clerical person in a doctor's office, you have to input it. So before even having to go in that document again, I can sit there and write it to the side before they even. So they won't have no record of me knowing because I know it off my head because I input the information.
That's the thing too, because being in this field, we was talking about Detroit. Detroit is not that big. That's why I say it's in your face. Some way, somehow, you know somebody, and it don't have
somebody or
a mutual. You mutually connected. It's more prevalent than people talk about.
Yes.
And we like to show a lot of things. But what's inside of us, we don't tend to want to open up, especially when it's something that's not so glorified. And we want to sometimes bottle that in. There's a lot of people out here that don't even have family members that's able to be supportive.
A lot of people go by. It's like,
and they create families.
Once we got aware of it in the 80s, right? And then now we look at how many people that had it and never said nothing to nobody, where it's actually confirmed that we actually seen someone die from AIDS. You know what I'm saying? People don't know that. You know what I'm saying? It's not being discussed. So they gonna look at it, it's really not that serious. Like you said, you are coming across with a lot of people that got HIV, right? You know what I'm saying? how many of those people that had HIV actually had AIDS and actually died of AIDS?
And sometimes you can go into the AIDS range numerically. And they'll report that to the Department of Health because now they got to consider that part of that statistic, the AIDS bracket. However, when you get your numbers back in range, you're back with being HIV, but you had AIDS. Once upon a time, you were AIDS level.
So I want to know. Wait a minute. Yeah, what are some of like the beginning symptoms? Are there any beginning symptoms that you really can identify?
You may think
like
you got the common cold. Everybody gets different symptoms. You know, your immune system is being attacked for one. So your fighter cells, your T cells are not even able to really defend things.
So you don't know unless you pretty much won't know unless you test it.
And they got places that you can go, like the STD clinic. You can go to the STD clinic and you can go get a rapid test. They'll tell you your results within 10 minutes. So many more people should be, like, now that I'm back dating, I am often told, oh, nobody's going to want to comply with that. Because I'm like, I don't mind doing a test. You don't know what somebody has going on with them. A lot of people are not open and honest with you to even tell you about anything, whether it's...
Even if you're in a whole relationship.
Whole relationship. I may not ever know anything about your finances, anything about your FICO score. I may not know anything about stocks and bonds, your properties, nothing. But I want to share my body with you. I can't ask you about what's going on with your body.
That's the point.
This is a conversation that's missing.
And people act like that's so unrealistic to ask,
and I'm getting
right?
told,
or it's offensive
you want to hit raw, right? You want to straight up come.
And now that I'm older,
you want a whole blowjob. Give a damn. I mean, I'm not gonna be offended. And if I ask a chick that and she's offended, I'm scared to.
I'm nervous. Like what you had,
you
know,
what you done had. You know what I mean?
Society promotes that your medical records
is your business.
It's your business, nobody else.
But if you're putting your business in my business, I can ask you whatever because I'm ready to answer.
We're mixing business now.
We're mixing business.
But society doesn't promote that. They doesn't promote that.
And that's why we're having this conversation.
Yeah, this conversation is very important today.
Even with the person who Mark is talking about, who openly talked about how he was positive. He's somebody from the neighborhood that I grew up with. He posted, about how you don't have to let people know that you have HIV. Some law, I guess you don't have to expose it. I guess if it's treated, I don't know how that go, or
maybe if you're undetectable or something.
I think that's complete bullshit.
I think I don't care, you should be telling people.
You should absolutely, especially.
Because I think that was the case with him. Because one of the videos, he was all spewing about how, and I take my medicine, I ain't nasty like all the rest of y'all, and I'm, I got to the point where I'm undetected. So
it's good to be confident. It's good to know that you're doing the proper things.
But still you don't know how other people will respond to that sickness.
Especially if you're being intimate with them. Like I think that's a clause that should be talked about right off rip.
But you have to set that tone because most people are not going to bring that to surface. They'll talk to you about any and everything. They'll even go as far as to share their personal space with you through these FaceTimes and whatever else. But you want me to let you penetrate me.
Or you want a blowjob.
Like,
let me just tell you, I'm stuck on that.
You want that guac 3000.
I can't get over it.
Excuse me.
How y'all speak on it, speaking on it, that's just something sacred, right? Well, generally in this society, they look at sex as a recreational.
Right. You know especially now. They do it for sport. At this point, exactly. I'm such a square. I'm sitting on the porch with my legs
realistically, we can't look at that and like is abnormal.
I don't knock nobody.
It's not. It's not.
What I'm saying, if you look back in human history, period, you can go back hundreds and thousands of years. You know what I'm saying? The sport of sexuality has been a sport. Part of our culture.
I'm not an angel.
None of this is new.
Nobody's an angel.
None of this is new.
This has
been going on before time.
What I'm saying is like when people are sitting there talking about how these people are just having sex as recreational. It's been in our culture, no matter where you're from around the world. Sex has been
recreation, right? It is recreation.
Sex is sex. I don't care if you don't speak the same language.
Right.
You do the right
That's
body.
The universal language.
Body language is still talking, and you don't got to open your mouth.
Right.
If somebody from across many
if a
miles away
lady's
will
hip,
know
if a
exactly
lady's
what
hip
you're
rolling,
saying.
we already know what time it is.
You say if they do what?
If they hip rolling, we know what time it
Rubbing
is.
all on you.
That's a
Come
universal
twerking. Look,
dance.
they twerking.
Mixed
Because them hips
mating
don't lie,
arts.
they say. What? Yes, exactly. Like music is universal. Sex is universal.
So do you meet a lot of people who are heterosexual, who have who have HIV, or most of these
Absolutely.
people are gay people?
Absolutely.
Like, what's up?
No, it's
Especially for the women, you know?
nothing is off limits.
Nobody,
Nothing.
nothing
I
and
don't
nobody.
care. Age, whatever. I'm telling you, like you just mentioned, you can be born with it.
Uh-huh.
Then you just mentioned how do you have heterosexual? Absolutely, because you got heterosexuals too that's living double lives.
There was
They play a role
podcast
of-
we had maybe a couple of years ago where they were speaking on how there was a hike in actual senior citizen cases.
Oh yeah.
Right? Even 'cause
Like the
when
divorced
they're in the
people.
home, well, I mean in the home. No, I'm talking about in the
In the
home,
senior
to the
homes.
senior homes.
But you know,
Because you'll be surprised. It's workers
They-
that
they-
will
they-
do
they-
things they don't have no
it's-
business
it's
doing,
another-
and
and then
then
that part
and
too,
sometimes they're already in there. Older patients are going. They once was young,
right, it's still the subject.
so they now in the home and they got it. You
it's,
know.
it's still the sensitive subject that people are still contracting it through blood transfusions. So when you're sitting there talking about the seniors and what seniors had blood transfusions in the past, that it's a
supposed to
human
be
act, so
checked.
there's always an error.
Yeah, it's supposed to be checked, but
You
I
can
mean,
check. and
people
check.
have those.
Everything we do in our
daily.
daily life, that how many times we
Error.
check something and there's still an error. It's called
With
human
human
error. It's
error.
always
Error.
still is a
But-
human error.
Nothing's
There are a lot of
100%.
people who are contracted it sometimes through rape.
Yes,
Sometimes
yes.
through infidelity
As well.
because
Absolutely.
they partners stepping out on them and
Right.
bringing stuff back home. So
It's
I
not
feel
just the
sorry for the-
LGBTQ
yeah,
community
it's-
at all.
speak on this.
It's not just that, and that's where people go wrong. And it's a lot of people out here that's promiscuous. And once again, we just said how it's everywhere.
And it's not only promiscuity. I mean, it's a lot of DL men.
And I
out
just
there,
said
right?
that.
Like,
So you
Men
go
coming
back to
home.
homosexuality.
What the hell?
Men
Like,
coming
it's-
home though from the joint,
It's people that
Yeah,
have
ladies.
different
Talking
reasons.
trash.
they been in there
Dog.
dipping
Man,
in everything.
I know. It was a family of gangbangers that I grew up with. Toughest dudes on the block.
Oh yeah, that was zesty.
Went in there and just zestfully clean. Just got dudes' names tattooed on in there. They flagrant
Yeah.
fire boys
But
in
a lot
there.
of- a lot
and they
of
get
those-
right back out here and they're tough
And
now.
a lot
They
of
be
and
zesty
a-
on the
and
street
a-
too with it though.
Right.
Oh,
and a
yeah,
lot
I mean,
of-
we know we
a
saw
lot
that.
of-
You remember
A
off
lot of
Broadway?
times, a lot of times in those cases is they was already zesty before they went in there. They was already
I don't know.
molested
I don't know
before.
because they do. Oh, they might have been molested.
Hold on, no, listen.
There's a lot of
Drop
molestation.
that bomb
There's
on
a lot of molestation that goes on that men don't
Because
talk
granted,
about.
Yeah,
right, that's what I'm
a
saying.
There's a lot of molestation and that makes
they
them.
hide it.
I'm speaking to females, and as a male, you know what I'm saying. Where if you sit there and talk to men, they will sit there and confine, you know what I'm saying, where it started. So when people put that label on the penitentiary, they'll sit there and tell you it didn't start in the penitentiary. It started prior to.
I
But
was
they was
raped
exposed
before.
into the environment that actually encouraged that
Or-
type of
yeah,
behavior.
yeah.
That's
You know
what
what
was
I'm
readily
saying?
available. So it was
That part
their
too.
world.
No,
That was
well,
their
no,
environment.
It's not. It's not.
It's
that
not
simple.
like- it's not that
that
simple, of course,
like
But
but
that is a
no.
component that actually
It's
contributes
their
to some of
environment. They don't have any other option.
Because that's what I'm saying. If
And
you're
if
in
they
a-
was
if
thinking
you-
about it prior
if you're,
to-
if you're in a penitentiary, right, it's a controlled environment. So people stereotype that it just rampant happen. No, you have to skillfully sit there and try to have that happen. You know what I'm saying? It's not allowed. You know what I'm saying? If you get caught, you know what I'm saying? It's consequences. Just like if a CO has
So you
sex
have to
with an inmate, it's
essentially, you say
consequences.
you got to make yourself
You know what I'm saying?
available.
These people have to actually sit in their cell and actually calculate, you know what I'm saying,
How they
doing
gonna
it.
get it
You know
done.
what I'm saying? It's not, you know what I'm saying? You're not going
Not
to walk
free
out in
fall.
the yard and it's just a free fall. You know what I'm saying? Because can you go from one inmate's room into another inmate room where it's all controlled environment with cameras? You know what I'm saying? So it's calculated measures for them to actually do
That's
it.
a whole deeper view.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because
I hear
people
you.
watch movies and watch TV
Yeah,
and
it's
they
not
try to
that
get
simple.
that.
We
It's
think
not
you
that
get
simple.
jumped in.
You know what
The
I'm saying?
first day you
And
jumped
still
in.
And
act-
that right there drives us back to where I said not having knowledge. That right
Right.
there, you think you know, you making speculations. It's about you getting the knowledge. I wouldn't
Exactly.
know because I've never been a man and I've never been in that situation.
Right.
But to be able to have that insight
Right. Because
I
you really,
respect
it's
that.
still a macho, masculine environment. You know what I'm saying? Men still have their pride about themselves. You know what I'm saying? And want to go home with that same pride. You know what I'm saying?
And the same as people
They're
that have.
they're gonna protect themselves.
You know what
But
I'm
if
saying?
it's a gang, it's a gang.
But the
What?
same with people
Gang rape.
with HIV.
Oh, yeah, on that.
real.
But
They
yeah.
want to still have their
I
pride.
done heard stories, so
Yeah, like,
you know.
I done
But
heard
see,
stories.
you
Yeah.
heard stories, but we know how stories go. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
once it
People
get to
tell
us.
stories to entertain you. So you have to realize what the genuinity of that story is unless you actually there. You know what I'm saying? When cats would sit there and tell me about stories like, oh, they went to the juvenile home and this and that. Be like, look, I done been in the juvenile home. How you sitting there trying to
Tell
how
me
it transpire? Like, nah, bro. You know what I'm saying? You over there add more on to it. Like,
But you
no,
gotta
bro.
think everybody's story is different.
I understand that, but when you start listening, you listening what they're not telling you. You know what I'm saying? You listen what they tell you, but then you also have to listen what they're not telling you, and that's gonna put holes in their story. You know what I'm saying? Because you know when you hear a legitimate story, they get in precise details versus when they're
Oh, a liar don't like
Case in
details.
point, the rumor
A
about
liar,
Tupac
I can
being
tell you about a
raped.
liar.
Yeah,
They don't like no
A
details.
liar don't
Yeah.
like details.
It's like it was
saying?
hot that day. That's all I remember.
But you notice when someone's trying to tell you a story and they're trying to entertain you, they leave out details. You know what I'm saying?
But nevertheless, though,
Yeah.
however, whyever, they are DL. They DL as fuck, right? Like they out here and they serious about
Back
it.
to what he was saying about they still want their
and not only
pride.
that, you have
Right.
women out here that don't mind. Like it's some guys, is
Right.
you know, you have women out here that don't mind.
That they know.
They into it. They
They know
into it.
and they like what they like too.
yeah, like they
It's
into
a lot
that.
of polygamous relationships going on.
It's a lot
like
of
it's a
poly-
thing now. Young and old, they're okay. Like it can be all four of us,
This is-
5 of us
this
as
is
a
what we
family,
have
and we know that we all together. What?
this is what we
Two
have.
But I don't
two
knock
couples,
it.
Two couples. And a
I
chick.
just don't operate off that because
I saw one
again,
on
I
social
respect
media where
everybody
it was
in their
one
decisions.
dude, it was like a butch lesbian, like a masculine chick, and 2 other chicks.
Oh, I saw that one.
And it's like, what the
What
Detroit
is this?
Zoo is going on here?
But you know, you have to realize.
I respect
You
everybody.
have to realize how this social media, this media, is
Normalizes
actually influencing,
everything.
Right?
That's not
It's
even
like,
normal.
We all went on porn, right?
That's
And we
their
know,
normal, though.
We know what we search, right? And all of a sudden they threw something in the middle of our advertisement, like, I don't want to
I
see
don't
all
see
this.
this.
You know what I'm saying? But what they're
They
trying
make
to
it.
program
They're
us
telling you a
with,
vision.
They trying to
They want you to
influence
be
it.
distracted.
Think about how many people fell victim to
Desensitize
that.
you.
To you know how many people fell victim to that exposure that you wasn't looking for, but they threw it at you.
But I tell
know
you
what I'm
where a lot of the I can from what I think, right? Like Jerry Springer just like turned it up when Jerry Springer came
Yeah.
out. And everybody, it seemed like everybody was gay. You know, like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm a man. I'm really a man. They became, and that was a long.
And it was a
Jerry
skit.
Springer
Most of them
happened a
wasn't
long
even
time
true.
So can
ago.
you
No,
imagine
most of them wasn't
It
even
with all of the
normalized-
different
it normalized
surgical
stuff
treatments you
so
can do now?
much.
There's hormonal treatments, and that's a whole different topic, but it goes along with it because I respect
Everybody's
everybody.
lifestyle, of course.
I respect them all. They have their souls, their people. They want to be respected and keep their pride. Back to that when you were saying about the gentleman in prison. They want to keep their pride too. Hence, the Pride Coalition, the Pride Parades. They want to still be proud of
It's-
themselves.
it's one
They want to still
element-
be
it's
respected,
one
and they
element-
deserve that.
There's
Yeah.
one element about all human beings because we're social beings, right? And we all want acceptance. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Like that was the push with the alphabet, the LGBT. I don't know all the letters, but that was the push for them to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? And also with men and women, we all want to be accepted in our peer groups. We want to be accepted in our work group. You know what I'm saying?
We're
So
accepted by our families.
now it's like when we have these alternative lifestyles, we want to be accepted. We want to be accepted. We want to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? But you can't go into another group and force them to accept you. You know what I'm saying? You have to sit there and stay in your lane. Like,
That's why you
I'm
have to
not-
find your people along the way.
Your tribe, right?
Yeah,
You have to
right,
find your
right,
tribe.
Right. So-
Because I love them and they love me.
because we down segregation, but segregation actually produce a healthy living lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Whereas you have your segregation of people over here, you're
I
doing
mean,
it. and
segregation
we're gonna
should
spread-
be, it was a forced
Now,
thing. I
that's the
mean,
difference-
if they
the
want to,
difference
if
between
you
is
want to
forced.
isolate yourself because, if the poly people want to make a community and this is our land and all the poly people come here,
I'll give you-
that's
I'll
different.
give you a good
I mean, you're
example.
talking about segregation.
I'll give
We're
you-
not just talking about black and white. Let's
Right.
talk about all,
That's what
like,
I'm saying.
all
I'll
the
give you-
metaphysical
I'll give
people,
you-
they come over here and we going to segregate ourselves because
I'll give
we
you-
don't have high vibration,
I'll give
right?
you- I'll
It's
give
like,
you-
it's all kind of of reasons to segregate. That's not just black and white.
I'll give you a great example of what you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. You have the lifestyle community, right?
You have a lifestyle community.
Right.
Yes.
The lifestyle community don't promote to integrate. They like their segregation, right? But in their community, they accept all. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So now I have our community, as lifestyle, they'll be like, I have our community, like we accept everybody because we're open-minded people, free-thinking people. We accept everybody, but this is our community. We're not trying to integrate with everybody else. We're not forcing
and they deserve
our
to have it, like a fraternity or sorority or a sisterhood of any other kind of brotherhood.
Our way of life on other people, where you sit there and see the LGBT.
But
that's a part of life, though.
Let me say this. I think it's talking about the lifestyle community, right? So if you are part of that, it should be based on something. Like we all tested, right? Like we all know our results.
They do have that.
And so, but you want to come into our community, but we don't know your status. So I don't know if you can use it unless we know your status. You can't come to our community. If you're going to have that,
that should be in every group. Heterosexual groups, gay groups, bisexual groups.
If you're in that community, they actually
we all are different communities.
There are communities that you have to show paperwork to be in this community, and you have to show current paperwork, not just when you join. No, you have to consistently show paperwork.
And we're talking about all communities, right?
No, I'm just speaking on lifestyle. But when we sit when we go back to when you sitting there talk about the heterosexual community,
every 3.
So like if this is a singles group, right? So this is a single community. Everyone should bring their paperwork because it's going to be casual sex. It's going to be casual link-ups, this and that. So we're going to be in a group.
Some people not ready for that kind of truth.
Exactly.
And they not, but they still want to be part of it. They want to come to the party. They want to come to the party.
Right.
And that's the thing. Yeah. Who are going to be the people to actually set that bar? And I'm one for my individual self.
That's why I go
now
back
that I'm
to
back
saying
dating, I'm going to ask for those
things. I go back to saying being segregated is a good thing because now I'm segregated. We're only going to accept the people that's on these terms that we're going to sit there.
Yeah, like a club.
Exactly. You know, like when you say in the sorority, fraternities, this and that. If we want to participate, these are the stipulations
of all types, and why that can't be one.
If you want to have a segregated group, like we don't care and we going to do all that.
And that's what majority of the world is, right?
Yeah, like most most of the parties, they not like that.
They gonna get it how they live.
Look, it's just a flyer, right? Yeah. If you know, and show up if you want to. And it's nothing about no paperwork on the flyer.
Wherever they go, it's like a brothel. It's like come one, come literally come one, come all.
I will say this though.
One party like that was like, yo, and that was just a chick like. Did I have this conversation already? Because I think
no, it does.
So there is a swingers social club in the city.
Absolutely, many of them. It's many of them.
Who had a podcast here on the network every Sunday, 2 hours after the church show. So they had
you got swingers in the church.
It was just crazy because we was like happy to be up here. Like it was still people from the church show and they would probably tune in and I was like, oh my god. But anyway, they had an event and the chick I was talking to at the time wanted to go to one of the events and I'm like, no. And I'm trying to tell her like, I don't want to, let's just go see.
I want to see.
And they kept telling me, Mark, we want you to come out to the event, blah blah. I'm like,
they take you in Pandora box.
Man, but see, this.
So we went in there, and as soon as we got in there, maybe about 5 minutes, T-minus 5 minutes into walking through the door, everybody know me, right? So they, Mark, what? I turned my head, and as I turned my head, these vultures that jumped on my girl, pulling her hair and trying to get her attention. And I turned back around, and she going off on somebody.
That's not
that quick.
Hold on.
That energy.
Let me explain that. That's not a real lifestyle party. You know what I'm
How
saying?
you know, Champ? How you know?
He sound like he's orchestrating.
Let me just tell you right
now. That's
now.
not how mine goes.
Something you want to talk about? Is this something you want to talk about, Champ?
If I speak on something because I have knowledge of it.
Okay, all right.
I have knowledge of it. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? It's just like if you're in a cult, if you're in a lifestyle, any type of group has stipulations. So you know what I'm saying? It's an orientation that you have to come in.
It's like they feel like it was a free for all.
That's what I'm saying.
That was probably their organization rules.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Kind of like Freemasonry. You don't know what goes on in this house.
But it's still rules to it. If it's a lifestyle party and somebody approach you, you know what I'm saying, without having an agreement, that's a free for all. You know what I'm saying? That's not an organized group. You know what I'm saying? You can't call an organized group when there's a free-for-all when people can do this and that and not following the rules. So when I sit there and say a lifestyle, if they're a lifestyle group, they have rules. every group has rules. That's the only way you can call it a group because it has structure, it has rules. If it doesn't have rules, you can't consider it as a group.
I'm thinking, I can't say, but I only can speak for my generation, and is when you talk about the lifestyle and lifestyle stuff, I think a lot of the HIV probably stems from that because it is a free for all.
No,
it's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be.
I'll give you a good example, right? Detroit is a bad example for lifestyle. And anybody that's in Detroit and traveled out of town will sit there and say that because it's more organized, it's more structured. You know what I'm saying? You will have to go on a website. You will sit there, have to join a membership. You know what I'm saying? It will be levels to it. You know what I'm saying? Where in Detroit, it's more of a free fall. Everyone just create a group. Oh, yeah, we all doing this and that. You don't see no structure. You know what I'm saying? If you go to other communities outside Detroit, you'll see structure. In Detroit, you don't see the structure. Everything in Detroit has to be a free fall. You know what I'm saying? Where if you go to other states and other cities, I'm not just saying lifestyle, any type of group.
Because we barrel in right to the LGBTQ community, like it's them, it's them. But we don't talk about those people that's part of that community because it's both. It's both contributing. And then you have wait a minute, and then you have the little. I wouldn't say square heterosexual woman that don't know shit about what's going on. When she at home with the kids and nigga been out doing whatever to the party. You know what I'm saying? Now he home.
Busy
like
women.
now I'm fucked up.
Now you mixing in.
Now I'm messed up, right? Because
I wasn't even out there.
I wasn't even at the party.
Even spiritually though, that'll throw you off balance.
Oh yes.
You know, intertwined with so many spirits, you taking on all they partners that they took on and all the shit that they dumped on them.
It's so much more than transferring a virus or a temporary infection.
If you think of it like that first.
Deep. And I don't want to be the one to switch it there, but it's deeper than
it is deeper
all
than
of the surface stuff that we looking at each other in good health. We all got these beautiful glowing skin right now, popping, melanin on point. You can't look at somebody and just tell what's underneath all of that.
If you don't have the wherewithal or the self-value or the self-love to say, what's your results? We, put a condom on.
And if somebody is
deeper than that.
Or
you know what I mean? It's deeper than that. Like, you want this person that bad, you're going to take whatever they come with.
I think it should
you want this person or they...
You transferring your energy onto me, too. You know how you can leave a room and you feel, like, uplifted? Like, I already know I'm about to leave here and feel good because I'm enjoying this. I was actually very nervous, so thank you for having me once again.
You can come back anytime, Tawana. We actually childhood friends. We didn't even know. When she showed up, she's like,
I'm like, wait, hold on. Some faces I don't forget for sure, but names I be like, sometimes like, but I know your face. Give me a minute. But however, I'm glad to be here.
You got a unique face because
she do.
Like I told you,
I said that. I said you got distinct features.
I posted the flyer, people tapped in. That's Tanisha. I know Tanisha.
I know. So popular.
You got a very distinct look. So I knew your face instantly. And thank you for bringing it together. Because I haven't seen her in years. And she always had such a good spirit. But that's what I was saying. Spirits is transferred when you're being intimate. So it's not just about the diseases and infections. Yeah. And that is a whole different topic. But you can end up feeling like sunshine. Like, I know I'm going to feel good when I leave here. You leave sometimes with somebody you done been intimate with, and that's one of the most in-depth ways to connect with somebody. And it's like you leave and like,
where my clothes
how do I flip myself
like, I want to right up and get right out.
I'll give you a good example.
And get this out of me, off of me.
I want to shower right now.
If you ever sit there
washing up like Jada on when she needed that money from Nate. I'm in the van Nate. She got home like, oh my God.
If you know what I'm saying? It's like if you watch porn, as soon as you got your nut off, you just feel blah. Like, this is nasty.
And sometimes you feel, but I know how I have.
You've been with partners. Yeah. You've been with partners.
Filthy beast you.
Right.
Oh my God. What did you just
But you've been with sexual partners and felt that same way. You know what I'm saying? Just like, this won't be no seconds.
I ain't coming back.
You know but it goes back to what you're saying, that exchange of energy, the exchange of spirits. Like bad spirits actually entered your body, and then you looked at that person just like.
So even before HIV, go ahead, Osa.
Oh, I was gonna say sometimes that's how women can tell if their partner was creeping out on them, because you'll come back and the energy is off. You'll feel the energy of the other woman on him.
I think so. I believe that. I believe that 100%.
I'm not saying no at all. I'm sitting here trying to keep my mouth shut.
Just like, wait a minute.
Just say, touch and agree.
Let me touch and agree, Osa. And I would go a step further and say that a lot of women that's what DL me and know it.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
Sometimes
they know
it's a
almost.
tendency
like, you
I've
feel
heard.
it, you know
I don't.
it, you see it,
You'll see the
almost you
signs.
see the
I got a-
signs.
I got
You
a
question
conversation.
shit.
I've heard so many different stories
Uh-oh.
with that.
I got an objection.
You got an objection.
I got an objection. Well, when that example that you gave was like, that's how you compete if your partner
It's
Yeah,
brought
like
bad
step down.
energy in you. But
You
that
can feel
bad
it.
energy could have came from being in another
But it's
environment.
different. No, but intuitively it's different, champ.
But
Intuitively.
It's like red, blue,
actually
green.
no
Listen to all
different.
these estrogen
It's just
carriers.
right.
I'm about to say,
All right,
talking
this
to the
ain't-
women
this ain't-
now,
this
like,
ain't
they
I'm
got
hustling,
antennas
right?
we ain't
Let
got,
them
bro.
know.
Let's
Let
say
them
I'm
know.
hustling, right? I'm in the street grinding. You know what I'm saying? With the scum of the earth. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to bring that vibe home.
That's
you know
what
what I'm saying?
you not gonna bring that.
Hold on.
Let me tell you something. That's a different type
For
of
y'all to
tension.
sit there and
That's a
know
different
You about to
type
put
of
me to
actually
sleep, not get on my
know
nerves.
The difference. He comes with a whole different demeanor. You know what I'm saying? So you're sitting
That's
and
not
studying
the energy
because
that
women,
we
y'all
use.
are great studiers of human behavior. I will give y'all that. Y'all are very great at studying human behavior. But to actually be precise that this man comes into this house and vice versa, if the woman comes into this house and this man studies the woman, there's this negative energy coming from. Where is it actually coming from? Was it being with another mate, or was it with his peer groups that brought that energy?
No,
around
it's different.
that he
Being
observed?
intuitive,
It's
you can
different
feel.
wavelengths.
You can feel.
They
the
may not
difference.
even seem
Like
like it's
Mark-
negative
So
energy.
if I come in from the world, right,
And you
I'm-
pissed
I'm
off,
angry
you
about this
irritated.
shit. Like if I come in from another world, I may
You
not
talking
be
shit.
angry. I may be like my normal tone and demeanor and what I feel like is my normal energy. But she knows something is off.
You like, what's wrong?
You may come in and you happy.
I'm not disputing that. What
yeah,
I'm
you
saying
might be a little too
is-
happy
What I'm
today.
saying
Like,
is-
what
is-
happened today? We gotta.
Right, I'm about to say, you might be too
What I'm
damn
saying
chill.
You might
is
be too
the
happy.
symptoms of your bad
Like, you
vibes
ain't- you
or
ain't
energy
arguing
that
with
you
me?
got outside will be similar to
But,
all
but
those.
what he's saying is, how can a woman pinpoint exactly what a man has been through outside
Because
the house
them-
based off what the energy?
Because the symptoms will be
like,
similar.
how can you pinpoint it?
The game
Symptoms
is to
not
be
gonna be-
sold, not told. Okay, let's start
First
there.
of all,
Drop that bomb.
first of all,
Okay.
let me just let you know.
I'm
We know.
trying to help, dog.
Just
I'm
know
trying
we
to
know.
help.
Start there.
No, I'm learning. I'm learning.
Just
I'm
know
learning.
we know.
I'm
You
learning.
can't make logic of intuition. You know,
Yeah,
that's just
just-
something
Yeah,
that.
you're absolutely
that.
right. You're absolutely
That.
right.
So women just it's certain things that we know. Some women may be
Even
off.
if we
I'm not
explain it to
gonna
you, you
make-
still may
you
not
know,
quite
right.
get it.
Let me tell.
We getting it without
They
saying.
wired.
Hey, hold on. This
The antennas is linked
This the
together.
Powerball statement, right? Do men have intuition?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Right.
Absolutely.
But
Men
they
have
don't. But they.
intuition too, right?
But
There's a
men have intuition, but they're not as intuitive because they don't listen
It's
to
not your
it.
full nature.
They don't listen to it because a lot of times
They
men
have
know
intuition because they are hunters. They know how to seek their
Some,
prey.
It's a
right.
different
It is-
type
So
of
they have a
focus.
different
It's
type
a
of
different
intuitive
focus.
It
side.
depends on the
But they are
situation.
intuitive very much so.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
women,
But when y'all think with that head with no brain in it,
'Cause listen,
y'all all that's
No,
out the
let-
window.
let me
That's
say this
out the
then.
window.
All of that's
Listen,
gone.
we would be able to read the same type of energy in y'all. versus
Absolutely.
them coming out.
Yes,
You see what
in
I'm
some
saying?
Yeah.
good, in
I
some
had a
they
male
can.
friend that was able to tell his
hold
woman
on,
was cheating
watch
on
this.
him
Watch this. Watch this.
and spoke on it. You know,
Y'all,
I had intuition.
generally
I've been
in
a
our
little
society,
intimate like that.
intimate.
they
Yeah.
say the
It's like
man,
you've been on the phone with somebody. It's like, how you know?
the
Like, no, I
man
haven't.
should lead, protect, and cultivate. Right?
And your intuition works for that.
Works for that. Right? So when you compare a woman's intuition
It's
and
the
a
different
man's
things.
intuition, right? There is a difference.
They're intuitive
right?
in different areas.
But
and
if you
different
make a
components.
statement as far as a woman intuition is a higher tier
We
than
don't
a
think it's a
man.
higher. We
No.
never said that.
No.
so when you deal with the
Different.
yin and
Different.
yang,
Yin
right?
and yang. I was gonna
We
say,
balance
Yes.
each other.
Women
I'm
are
stronger
intuitive.
where you
I
are.
ain't
have
get there
different
yet.
things.
I ain't get there yet, but I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Okay, so when you're dealing with yin yang, okay, the yin is the woman, which is the darkness, which is the intuition. Like that's just who we are by nature. That's our essence. If you go into some deep stuff, that's why they, deem women as witches because they had this spiritual power of knowing things, that deep intuition. As a balance though, yes, you can have both. You're supposed to tap into go within yourself. But women, we already super in tune to our emotions, which is our intuition,
emotional
which
part.
is our energy. men, you have to learn and like develop
It's
that.
the emotional part, Champ.
No, I'm going back.
It's the emotional part. You saying, how do we know? Because it's your if you've been with another person, your emotions have been tampered with. If you out here in the streets, if you somebody they ain't really riled your emotions. They might have hurt your ego. They might have pissed you off. But they ain't really tampered with your emotions, right? As a man, because you hold that. But if you've been out with and this is some game. If you've been out with a woman and that's opened your emotions up, and you come to me, I'ma know your you like, damn, you look. Like
we can tell when y'all off.
You off.
In certain things,
you gonna be off.
Can men tell women they off?
Not tell us that we're off.
But they should know.
But
and that's a problem when you have a mate that don't never know.
We can tell y'all when y'all we can't tell y'all nothing, huh?
No.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You should know.
You're saying I just was teasing when he was like, "Can we tell women they off?" And I'm like, "No. When we're off, can you acknowledge it and witness it? Yeah, absolutely." But I'm just saying we balance each other at the end of the day.
Right. I believe that 100% that we balance each other.
Your intuition and my intuition is not going to serve the same in the wilderness if we were animals. But I'm able to protect the cubs and try to help you along. We got the same thing. If I'm by myself, I got to do it. But y'all supposed to be our lead. Y'all supposed to be the ones that we follow. We are women dogs. We supposed to be equal as far as being your partner, but you are supposed to be the stronger of the two.
Ain't no female dogs leading the
pack.
Y'all intuition is a man. That's a male dog leading the pack. That's wolves.
That the woman has the same intuition out there as a man, because if anything has to man, he has to rely on the woman. So that woman's intuition is going to come out that she already had.
And back to the HIV. We should rely on each other to be honest.
Right. If you look at the lions and the lioness, right?
But nobody wants to do that.
The lioness has to go hunt and feed the cubs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's an intuition to prey on the animal.
That we're all naturally wired with that.
Everybody have their role in the ecosystem.
But let's say let's say the lion gets killed, right? Mm-hmm. That woman can use that same intuition to protect the territory.
It's going to be
so
developed.
That's why I said
when the time comes,
at that point it's developed.
So we all have the same equal amount of intuition.
You're gonna be the frontliner as the male, and I got you. I'm behind you.
But the woman can also be the frontliner.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
We don't know what the position may be when it pop off, but we should be absolutely partnership, not as opponents by no means.
You should definitely be equal.
We coming back to back. We coming side to side. We coming you in front, I'm in front, but we together.
Yeah, we equally yoked, but we don't have this. We don't play the same role.
We don't play
You're just as capable as that I am, but we don't have
and where
the same
you're
role.
weak, and if I'm stronger, I'm a carrier.
Right?
Where you're stronger and I'm weaker, you gonna carry.
We're equal in strength, but we have different powers, right?
Absolutely.
We have different individual.
And that's where we should give each other that even balance.
That's why we were made the way that we are. You know what I'm saying? To complement each other, like Osa said. I mean, that's why we begin in the game. I got a little bit of you, and you got a little bit of me.
I can show up logically, but we're going to depend on the man to be that logic. Right. You know,
and then where did that come into play? Because I'm gonna keep reverting back to.
Some women don't accept that. Man to be the logic.
Some people want that. Some women want that.
I need that logic. Help me.
Yes.
I'm not a logical,
but see, y'all when y'all speak on logic, right? Men are high risk takers. Women are lower risk takers. You know what I'm saying?
Some women haven't experienced a logical man before.
So is a high risk taker, right?
There are some.
The woman comes in play as the logical thinker.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's needed, right?
You know what I'm saying? So it's not a point of the man is
not
more
that
logical thinker. It's only point of when it needs to be applied.
I don't think there's a lack, right? And I want to piggyback off something Tawana said, right? We have to be honest, right? We have to be honest.
Right.
That truth can hurt sometimes.
Honesty, I don't understand how these people double lifing out here, how they building a life on lies, how they got whole health issues and still out here screwing
or families in a whole different.
You know what I'm saying?
Life.
Like, what is wrong with being honest? What is the worst thing that can happen?
I be wanting to know who gonna put you on punishment or give you a whooping.
That's ego. You know, like you don't want to have that
what
image.
What stops a person from saying, "Wait a minute, I need to let you know something"?
No, because it's manipulation and deceit, and they comfortable with that because that's who they are.
Are humans naturally monogamous?
We don't know because
I don't think a lot of men are naturally monogamous. We are made for you all. We are made.
I think that humans
for
may be
our mates.
I think
Okay.
We supposed to complete that union.
Scientific.
Y'all are hunters.
Science-
Y'all always on the roam.
Science-
It's about self-control either way.
Scientific study shows that humans are not monogamous.
But
There's only a few
agree.
animals on this earth. Okay.
But we're supposed to be
tell
the
you why I
most
don't
intelligent that's supposed to have self-control. So yes, we can be monogamous.
But
I'm gonna
because
let me
we
tell
are.
you, we're about to wrap up. I'm gonna tell you why I don't think I think that humans do have the capacity to be monogamous. It was created to be monogamous because if not, there would. Why are there so many STDs? If it's just you and me, ain't no STD. If
Ding,
it's just
ding,
you
ding.
and me, ain't no HIV. If it's just you and me, we don't have these problems.
And that's all those bacteria and all those different energies that don't transfer anything. But that's still an infection when you got your
Wait a
spirit
minute, let
side
me finish,
messed up.
champ. Let me finish. If I get with a person, it's gonna take, and we gonna have protection. Then at some point we might not be having protection. It's gonna take my body a little while to adjust to that person. They're gonna throw my pH off because they're a different person.
They're different.
And you and your body adjust. You and that person adjust.
And
So
things like that
that's a monogamous
sign.
situation. You're gonna go around and how many people your body gonna adjust to?
So look, I have
You know what I'm like?
My
Go ahead,
You
Rosa.
made to be a monogamous.
my understanding sits right in the middle. Okay, I do believe. Well, I'm not gonna say it's a belief, but I know people don't truly have that capacity or that
Mentality.
discipline to be with one person. Now, if you know that you don't want to be with one person and you want to have multiple partners, I
free
believe
will.
that having an agreement, and this is why I have a lot of polygamous friends. Okay, so or polyamory,
Yeah.
all the polys. If you have that agreement, and y'all keep it within that circle where you're not just out here sleeping with everybody, I think that works. It's not for me.
It's a monogamous situation.
But I think that helps to, decrease actually spreading something
Right.
because you have the same exact partners. And even with that, you should still be tested.
It's closed.
Reason
It's a
why
closed.
I say
it's
it's
a closed
nature or
But how
partnership.
close
The
is it
reason
when
why I
it's
say it's
multiple
nature,
like
right?
that?
Will we be able to populate this earth being monogamous?
Yes, just like we have been.
Yeah.
We didn't populate this earth being monogamous.
And we overpopulated. They
Right.
trying to kill people right
Hold on,
now.
So
hold
you
on.
feel
We
like
are
you should
designed-
They making stuff to kill
got-
people right now.
I got to piggyback off of that, right? So now you look at society and how they teach the daughter to be monogamous, but they don't teach the son to be monogamous until he becomes an adult.
That's a whole nother show.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
definitely.
saying?
Yeah.
So no.
This
When
time
we-
I know
this-
that
this-
show.
this-
Wrap it up,
no,
wrap it up, champ. Wrap it
then
up.
when
Just
we
like
come
little
back,
boys.
when we come back to the HIV, when you got this young boy, it was cute when he's in kindergarten, first grade, and had multiple girlfriends.
And he feel
right?
like I'm gonna
There's
have all the
nothing-
women when
and they
I'm
gonna-
older.
Exactly. So then, when it comes to the little girl, keep your son away from my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Y'all grooming her to be monogamous.
conditioning
You know what I'm
is
saying?
definitely different.
So
That's
now-
why we be so trapped with wanting
So-
that one man, but
right.
he wants several.
Or
like I
And
said,
we
the fairy
all
tale.
want him.
Right. So this man,
let me tell
as
y'all.
a teenager, is having multiple sexual partner because it is cool. This is okay.
He's
When-
sowing his oats, right? I mean,
And
but then he's expected to settle down with one person and
Out
to
the
be
blue,
monogamous.
18 turn down
At
at
some
18
point.
years
Just
old
like
now
they-
go
just
settle
like
down.
As little boys, we taught how to treat women, like open the doors for them to do that. All
Some
that type of
are
stuff.
taught that.
right? Right,
yeah.
and then and
Not
little
all.
girls, and I've heard that little girls are taught how to protect themselves from men and shit. Make sure that they don't do this. Make sure that they don't do that. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like they're grooming a woman to look at us as
on
like
edge.
we're
Predators.
Like we're predators. Yeah.
from an early age. So
And 'cause-
So let me just say, I think that we'll have another conversation like this.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
should've been a
So I can come back. We
Yeah.
should have done
Yeah.
He like we should have did a 2-hour show. This might have should have been a 2-hour show.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all want
We
to
we definitely will come back with another topic. We not a topic on this topic because we actually had another guest that was supposed to come in
So
tonight
that'll be
that didn't
good.
come.
That we
Yeah.
can start to it.
Yeah,
I
we
would
have
love
we
that.
have another part with additional guests.
We went
along
so
with
many
Tawana.
places, but
And,
it all
uh,
intertwined.
You heard
Yeah,
how
it
this
intertwines,
conversation
yeah.
about HIV went all around, and that's the natural course of the virus, right? It's so many layers
Layers of it,
layers
yeah.
to it,
It's
so
the
many
truth.
considerations.
That
But we
plays a
just
part.
want to encourage everybody as we enter into an open season where everybody's coming outside, getting together. Know your status. If you don't know your status, have enough self-worth, self-love to ask, to wear protection.
have the conversation.
It's not an
Have the
embarrassment.
conversation.
You
It's
gotta
not the
love
end of
yourself
life.
because you can prevent yourself from actually ending up being sicker than you have to be. It's so much help out here. We got great people that's in the medical field that's trying to help and trying to save lives. So you don't have to be left out.
Don't be
and
scared
feel like
to
you don't
know
have
your
a
status,
family
right?
that will receive you and actually support you. Because we become family as time go on. A lot of patients don't even have support from their family because their family don't even know. So especially if they gay, or if they have, like, they don't know if they binary, they don't know which pronoun they want to use. They feel like a woman one day, a man one day. It's so much depth to it, and that's why I'm glad that I was able to be here. And I'm speaking from the outside looking in, but so many have been so genuine and shared their stories with me that I feel like, as a heterosexual woman, I want to be as precautionary as I can, because knowledge is power. The ignorance is the problem right now, and it's our youth that's really falling behind, because they got all these different outlets that's giving them the impression it's a free fall. Just go out here and have your lifestyle be whatever you want with no consequences.
Please talk to your babies.
You have to.
Please talk
You
to your
have
babies
to.
about
Know
it.
your status.
Know your status.
Know your status. Don't
It's
be
help.
scared. Tawana's here to let you know. Don't be scared.
Don't.
There's help. It's not
It's
the
for
end of the
you.
road. Know your status, and don't be scared to know your status.
It'll bring you more life, because if you don't know, the common
That's
cold
death.
can just
Ignorance
take
is
you
death.
out. Absolutely.
Okay, we thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you all next week.
Peace and love.
Cheers, peace and love.
Good night and good day.
Warning. You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio. 7 Mile Radio.